Do you trust BYU to cover or even win outright against this Alabama squad, Rob?
I do not, but it's less about BYU and it's more about Alabama. That team's good. And more importantly, that team hit the throttle. Like I know after round one against Robert Morris, there was a little bit of a panic there. Like, maybe they're not those same guys. And it makes sense because this is the same Alabama team that last year I had penciled in to the national championship game, and they just kind of the wheels fell off a little bit under pressure. I got a little nervous up against Robert Morris, up against the Colonials. But that second game, Alabama looked more like the Alabama I expected. I think they settled down a little bit. I think there may have been a little bit of nerves carried over from last year where even with the Sweet 16 run last year, they just did not meet up with expectations. That's gone. Mark Sears, who spent the first half of the year inside of the National Player of the Year conversation before he got dropped out because Jedi Broom and Cooper Flagg are a pair of absolute freaks of nature, I think has kind of started to find his stride and find his role in a playoff position, not in and out every week SEC basketball, but in a win or go home situation. It is not that I don't think BYU is a good team. I think there's 2 or 3 other teams in the Sweet 16 that if I put BYU up against them, I'd feel real good. But Ryan Horvat, Alabama found that pace, man. They want to play fast. They want to get that game into the upper 90s, up into the upper 80s, lower 90s. I think they want to turn this thing into a track meet. And if their shot efficiency is there, I just think BYU ends up gassed with about 10 minutes left to go in the game and Alabama slips away. I wouldn't hate you if you took the 5.5 in this game. But no, I think Alabama's just a better, I didn't want to say a technically more talented basketball team, Horvey. I just think that they are that much quicker, that much faster, and they've built up the stamina from playing that way week in, week out in the Southeastern Conference. I am all in on the Tide right now.
Same here, man. I like Alabama in the game. I'm not going to take the points with BYU. That said, though, I have faded BYU back-to-back games. And again, I was huge on Wisconsin. Kind of destroyed my whole weekend. And I watched the game at dinner after going really hard at dinner and getting that extra bottle. And I was like, big mistake. The Badgers screwed me. So, yeah, dude, I'm with you. I do not trust the dog in this situation, but I could see them winning the game outright. That said, I'm more intrigued by the total, and I know we're not talking totals right now, but 175.5 right now, minus 112 to the over. So I was looking at this. 5 games have closed with the total above 170 or 170.5 the last 3 decades, and 3 since 1995, and all of them last year. And it was Bama, 172.5, 175, 173. The record was back in 1995. Mario wasn't even born. 177 was the total, Texas and Maryland. And then February 22nd, Bama, Kentucky, that total closed 181.5, the highest total in any college basketball game since 2019. What would you do, Rob, if I give you a free $100 and I said you got to take the total here? Could you bet an under in this game at 175.5? Especially you opened up by saying Bama wants to push the pace, and I think BYU is going to want to run with them.
I do too, and I would honestly, I'd take the over.
Same.
This is a ridiculous over at 175.5, and I would still take it because listen, Bama's going to threaten 90 in this game unless the shots just aren't falling, which I can't guess on that, right? Like if you say, it's because the shots aren't falling, you're just taking a stab in the dark at that part. If we're playing based on what we've seen, and I'm dating back to the SEC tournament, I'm dating back to that win over Auburn. If the shots are falling from Bama and they have more than they're not, Bama's going to get to 90 in that spot. And so my question mark is BYU going to be in the back pocket? And I think the answer is yeah, because I do think you are right. I think BYU is going to try to match the pace. I wouldn't advise them of it, but I think they're going to try to match the pace of Alabama. That gets them threatening that 80-point mark, which is what I would need them at. And then if Bama ends up in a spot where they've got, they're 5 over that 5.5-point line and they pull off a little bit late, maybe BYU goes and knocks down 2 or 3 late threes, trying to get aggressive and force a miracle, and that helps us out a little bit more. That's the direction. I agree with you. I think BYU is going to try to run with Alabama. I don't think it's going to work, but if they do, and again, both teams have been very efficient offensively, if those 2 trends hold up, I think you could be looking at like a 92-85 game, and we're going to be all over that mark.